I recall as a child living in an urban context in the city of Beirut that we would have to purchase a lot of water from private vendors, and that's because the water that comes from the tap is not potable to begin with. And second of all is we would have shortages, and there would be times where water would not flow in the tap, and for those moments we needed to be prepared. Unfortunately, it's not something that all families and all households are able to afford, especially because now the water retailers are charging somewhere between $5 to $10 per cubic meter. So it's a privilege to be able to afford buying water privately, and otherwise you have to pre-plan and prepare yourself for when there is water running in the tap. A lot of people, for example, my grandmother, stores water in advance while the water is running in as many containers as she can, and tries to keep that water for when there is a shortage. And sometimes it's not enough. So regardless, there's that need to have to go and get water from other sources, especially drinking water. Lebanon, of course, is located in a region threatened by desertification, all the way from Iran to Cyprus. Not only that, we also have water mismanagement issues, of course. So Lebanon only makes use of 1.4 billion cubic meters of the 2.7 billion cubic meters available. And agriculture takes up the king's share of this resource. It accounts for about 60% of the water consumed, but it only contributes to about somewhere I found a number which is 6%. So I'm imagining, a small fraction of to the Lebanese economy and the GDP. The other portion of the water available, unfortunately, is wasted every year. Something more than 50% of the water available in Lebanon is wasted. It's wasted because we only have a capacity of storing about 6% of total water resources available. That's because we are the country with the least dam storage capacity in the MENA region. There's a lot of runoff, there's a lot of leakage due to old infrastructure and misuse, as in most cases with water resources. The problem is much more complex because we're not only talking about misuse of water management, but also that climate change unpredictability has really hit strongly. We've had some of the most severe droughts in the past years, especially last summer. Rains were scarce last winter, and normally the annual average in the past decades has been above 800 millimeters, but last year the annual average was only around 400 millimeters. That's considered one of the worst rainfall seasons in the last 6 years. I'm sharing two pictures. The first one is I took in 2012 when I was visiting my village in the north of Lebanon called Sharre. Sharre is a district, and within it there was the town of Hasroun. And I was able to go and visit the rainwater harvesting pools at the very top of the mountains. As you can see in the picture, the water levels are considered normal, and this water is used for feeding agriculture. So it drains into, and it's directed to feed all the lands where a lot of crops are grown. And on the other hand, you'll see the same picture in front of the same pool in August 2014, last year. And you'll see the water levels in the rain harvesting pool is close to none. It's depleted. And this has been an alarming topic of conversation for a lot of the farmers, a lot of the landowners, and they're really concerned about what will happen next, and they're starting to do a lot of maintenance and building new pools and trying to figure out what are better ways of doing it. The thing is that I didn't see a lot of collaboration between these farmers and landowners and perhaps the municipality with researchers who really understand and are researching the, some predictions of what the rainfall levels will be, and engineers who are looking at really what is the best approach to build these pools. Add to that Lebanon has been receiving tremendous number of refugees and displaced populations from what is happening in Syria, from what had happened in Iraq, from the continuous situation in Palestine and Israel. So with the influx of hundreds of thousands of refugees, there's really not enough of a social or physical infrastructure to receive them and to provide adequate water supply. The greatest benefit that I see as presented as an opportunity by this Blue Gold plan and its PR campaign and all the movement that it has initiated and energy is that it's shifting people's focus and bringing it back to water, and inviting a space for public debate, whether they're questioning who's behind it, whether they're questioning, what are its what are its intentions. The point is that people are starting to talk about it. And from a stakeholder engagement perspective, which is my area of focus, this is a perfect opportunity to be able to benefit from the debate and the growing public awareness in order to build capacity at the civic engagement level and also at the professional level for people working in the water sector to offer avenues to involve citizens and stakeholders more meaningfully. A lot of the research that I did, for instance, for this presentation and in general from my knowledge about Lebanon when I'm doing my research, a lot of reference is made to research done by men in the sector. And unfortunately, I haven't come across anything that is reference to women. And I know there are incredible women working in the sector, incredible researchers. There are a lot of youth leaders also involved, and there's no reference to them, not in the media, not in research, not in what is being communicated about the water situation, the initiatives being done. My childhood memories of swimming in the ocean and being in my village, Pshere, and going to the source point and collecting water for the family and bringing it back. I wasn't aware and I never looked at water as a problem for Lebanon. And now as an adult, I look back at those memories very fondly because I had this naivety to think that this water will always be available and I will always be able to swim in this beautiful fresh water, it's not really fresh, the ocean water at the Mediterranean Sea, and that I will always be able to, fill the jugs of water and drink the water directly. And now this seems to be less and less reachable, less and less possible, and concerns for future generations make me think that we really need to act, we really need to step up and find ways to improve what is happening and how we're solving our water challenges in the Middle East in general, and especially in my country, Lebanon.